In a moment, here on the MedPod Radio Report, we'll hear about a fictitious manga society here in Japan where women rule. This is the MedPod Radio and Video Report for Tuesday, March 23rd, 2010, here on 76.1 Inter FM, with information from inside the pages of Metropolis Magazine. We're with Assistant Editor Sarah Cortina. What's the story here, Sarah?
Well, right now, one of the big news is a manga series called Oku. And this, it's actually been serialized for a few years. I think it started back in around 2005 or so. But the reason why this is in the news now is because this comic series is currently being made into a live-action movie. And the movie they're filming now, and it's set to open in October of this year.
So it started as a manga,
yes,
and now they have real live characters.
Yes, which happens a lot in the Japanese film industry. It's actually very, very rare that there's ever a movie made on an original story, not based on something. But this is a really, really cool concept, actually. The manga has been translated into English several volumes, I think. It's all about the Oku, which anybody who watches, like Japanese historical shows is familiar that Oku refers to the sort of harem of, concubines of women that the shogun had back in, the samurai days.
And so he was allowed to have a concubine.
He was allowed to have lots of them.
I see. Okay.
Yes, but so this story takes place back in that same era, back in the Edo era when the shogun ruled everything. But the big difference is it's set sort of in an alternate reality world where this horrible plague disease has swept through Japan and killed off most of the male population.
Ooh.
And so because all of the guys are basically dead, I think it's supposed to be, they've been reduced by about 75%. There's only about a quarter of the guys still alive that there used to be. So the women have gradually taken over because there aren't enough guys left to run the country. So the women are the ones in power. It's a matriarchal society. And the shogun, the big general, is actually a woman. And she has her Oku, her harem, which is, of course, a bunch of guys. And these guys are, I think it's 3,000 of them. So the shogun there's so few guys left, but the shogun is the only one who's allowed to have, 3,000 guys at her beck and call.
She has 3,000 guys?
I think that's the number. If I remember correctly, I think that's the number they say, yeah. But
And did you say this was a fantasy?
Well, from a certain perspective,
Okay.
yeah.
To read more about this manga, pick up our magazine. To hear more, check out our podcast. It's called
The MetPod.
The Tokyo MedPod.
Radio Report.
The Tokyo MedPod. It's all about life in Tokyo at www.medpod.com.
Come get some of this.
And join us every morning for the MedPod Radio Report. I'm Kamasami Kong on 76.1
76.1.
Inter FM.